So we're teaching our kids to turn inward. And that's how you can kind of start building that feel-good intrinsic motivation in your kiddos. Hey there, I'm Katherine Barker, and in this video, we're going to be talking about how to build intrinsic motivation in your students. Teaching intrinsic motivation can be really tricky, especially for young kiddos. They're still so focused on just external factors that they aren't really focused inward, right? They're still kind of learning and trying to understand their own emotions and what's going on internally. So that's why we kind of have to help them along and really kind of help teach them how to look inward and really understand what intrinsic motivation feels like. Here's my 4-step process to how to teach intrinsic motivation to your kiddos. So first is use rewards randomly. So this can be an issue where a lot of times, say, if you're using some sort of a reward system, it can be overused. So if you have kiddos that every single time they make a good choice and every time you're giving them a reward, it can kind of condition them to always expect a reward, right? That doesn't mean that we never ever use rewards. It just means that we need to use them intentionally, and we need to use them sparingly. We don't want to condition our kids that every single time they make a good choice, boom, they get a reward, boom, they get a sticker, they get treasure box, they get clipped up, whatever system you're using. We kind of want to use it randomly for them. And rewards are part of positive reinforcement, but I don't want you to confuse rewards with verbal affirmation. I personally don't think that you can ever give enough verbal affirmation. Students always can benefit from hearing that you're proud of them, that they're doing a great job. That can speak to them internally, right? And that can help actually build that intrinsic motivation. So we don't want to confuse verbal affirmation with rewards. When I mean rewards, I mean like tangible, physical things versus verbal affirmation is when you are verbally affirming the kiddos. So first, you're going to use rewards randomly. The second step is that you're going to go into depth and kind of teach your kids how it feels to do the right thing. And we want to emphasize that we do the right thing because it's the right thing. I love to include teaching character traits to my kiddos, and I think this is a great way for you to segue into this. So if you're teaching, say, like caring or maybe respect, you can do something like maybe act out the scenario of what it looks like to show caring. You can role play this and say, like, have 2 kiddos come to the front of the class, and maybe one student falls down and gets hurt, and another student comes over and helps them. And then you can kind of talk with the other student and share with the class, how do you think it made them feel when they helped that other friend up, right? It made their heart feel good. And if you have read the How Full Is Your Bucket story, this is a great way to incorporate it into this lesson as well. You could talk about how, wow, when they helped that friend, that not only filled their friend's bucket, but it filled their bucket too. So we want to start teaching our kids to really look inward internally and think about their feelings. Like, how do I feel when I'm doing the right thing? I like to say things like, oh, that made my heart feel so full and feel so happy and full of joy. My heart is smiling right now because it felt good to help my friend. And you can say, when I help fill my friend's bucket, it also fills my bucket too. Now, you kind of have to be a little careful with this. This can get a little tricky, because sometimes when we do the right thing, it doesn't feel good. Sometimes when we do the right thing, it's hard, actually. It's harder to do the right thing. It's things with like honesty and perseverance. So that's where you kind of have to kind of talk this through with your students and kind of really explain more of what this looks like. So I love acting out. So you can act out a scenario where a student has to maybe be honest and tell the truth. You could show like a video or something on like honesty and about maybe a kiddo has to do the right thing even though it's hard and they have to be honest and tell the truth about something. But you can still talk about, again, internally, even though it was hard in that moment to do the right thing, at the end, it felt good knowing that you did the right thing. It felt good knowing I was honest. It doesn't feel good inside, right, when we lie. We feel icky. Even though maybe we didn't get in trouble, we still don't feel good inside, right? So you always kind of start pointing them inward of what is going on internally. How do I feel when I make the right choice? Okay, so the third thing that you're going to do is you're going to gradually reduce how often you give rewards. So as the year progresses on, you're going to kind of start raising the bar higher for behavior. You're going to start asking for more from your kiddos. And you're going to kind of start swapping out those physical rewards. So say your positive reinforcement system for maybe like verbal affirmation. So instead of saying, oh, you did a great job, here's a punch in your punch card, you could say, you did a great job, my friend. I am so proud of you. How do you feel inside right now for making that good choice? So we're teaching our kids to turn inward, and that's how you can kind of start building that feel good intrinsic motivation in your kiddos. And the fourth thing that you're going to do to teach intrinsic motivation for your kids is to include lots of fun, engaging, hands-on activities. We want to use these fun, engaging activities to really build a love of learning for our kids. We also want our kids to be motivated to learn, right? We want them to come to school and they want to complete the activity. They want to complete the worksheet, whatever it is that you're giving them. And we can do that by doing fun, exciting activities for them. So if your kids are struggling to complete their work maybe, and they're feeling kind of bored and frustrated, try to think of out of the box creative ways that you can take that curriculum and like spice it up and make it more engaging and more hands-on. Kids really have an innate ability to learn through play, right? It's a very natural process for them. So when you can kind of tap into that play side of them, that's when you can really help, really spark that intrinsic motivation to help them really begin to love coming to school, really help them begin to love to learn. Watch and notice what your kids get excited for, what like lights them up, and whatever you find really excites them, do more of that. Okay, so let's do a quick recap. So the 4-step process to help build intrinsic motivation in your kiddos is 1, use rewards randomly. 2, teach your kiddos how to look inward and focus on how good it feels to do the right thing. The 3rd step is to gradually reduce your tangible rewards and replace it with verbal affirmation and reminding kids that feel-good feeling of when they make the right choice. And the 4th thing is to do lots of hands-on engaging activities to help your kids feel motivated and excited to come to school and to help them build a love of learning. All right, that's my 4-step process, my friend. I hope you found this video helpful and useful. I'll see you in the next one. And until then, happy teaching.